You are listening to Royal and Remedy, a Sea of Love production. Today on the Royal and Remedy Film Podcast, we're going to be reviewing Always Shine. It's out on VOD right now. It is the second feature from Sophia Takal. I'm not aware of her first feature, but I have seen her. This is my first experience with her behind the camera, but I have seen her in front of the camera. While I was looking up this movie, I actually saw that, I don't know if anybody's seen this movie, Supporting Characters. It's a really small indie movie with Alex Karpovsky, who plays Ray in Girls on HBO. She actually plays his girlfriend in the movie Supporting Characters. And so I thought that was pretty interesting. But back to the movie Always Shine. What this movie's about is these two actors friends. One of them still struggling and bitter, and the other one's on the verge of big success. They go to Big Sur for the weekend, and it's not like they're, friends that see each other every day. You can tell by the way the movie portrays it. They're friends that, are long-lost friends, and they don't see, their friendship's definitely slipping away and falling apart, and they see less and less of one another. But just some initial thoughts on the movie and the premise. I thought this was a great idea for a premise. I thought this movie touched on great things were touched on in this movie, like dealing with a friend's success while you're still floundering. I thought that idea was really interesting, and I thought that created a lot of psychological drama and tension that really made this movie really cool. As far as the performances, the main character, Caitlin Fitzgerald, she's in Rectify, that's on the Sundance Channel, which is pretty good. She is the actress who is on the verge of big success that's, getting paid for her work. She totally reminds me of a slasher actress, which is what is the niche she's carving out for herself in Hollywood, taking her clothes off a lot, the scream queen, etc., etc. Very vulnerable and broken. So I really thought she was amazingly cast to play this kind of character. And then I thought, from another perspective, that vulnerability and brokenness that she has that fits that slasher actress mold, it totally helped with her character, as the character on the verge of big success. And then the other actress in this movie that is struggling is Mackenzie Davis. And it's crazy, in real life she's actually the more famous actress. She's in AMC's Halt and Catch Fire. She's in a couple movies. I think she was in The Martian, I believe. I know she was in That Awkward Moment with Zac Efron, Michael B. Jordan, and Miles Teller. She's also in an episode, a really great stylized episode of Black Mirror that was in season 3 that it just came out on Netflix this past year. But about her in this movie, I thought she's in this scene where she's acting sassy when they're reading lines, because Caitlin Fitzgerald's character needs to act sassy and she's not being sassy enough, according to Mackenzie Davis, so she does it. The psychological tension that she creates while quote-unquote being sassy while reading those lines and getting up in her face, it's one of the great scenes in this movie, and it just totally just makes this movie work for me. Also, you get to see two sides of her in this movie, and I won't give any spoilers away in this movie, in this review at all about this movie, but you get to see two sides of her, and I really enjoyed her transforming into this other person at a certain point in this movie. I love the intro scene. But moving on to something else, I love the intro scenes for both characters in this movie. Excuse me, Caitlin Fitzgerald is in a casting room reading some lines, and then Mackenzie Davis is in a body shop or garage shop going over her estimate with the mechanic. I feel like in both of those intro scenes you find a lot out about these characters in a very short amount of time. I really especially loved Caitlin Fitzgerald's opening scene, which is the first of the two introduction scenes. I love the way this movie is cut together. It's very spastically cut together, very randomly cut together. It's got a haunting score that is as eerie as the cutting of this movie. It's very Hitchcockian. I watched the documentary Noah Baumbach, Jake Paltrow documentary recently, De Palma, and I'm not even a big fan of De Palma, But I thought that documentary was fascinating, and I just so got a strong De Palma vibe from the style and direction of this movie. I feel one little criticism of this movie is I feel like the cinematography could have been even more beautiful, and it could have been even more provocative to lend to the eerie tone. But that's a really small nitpick. I also loved the Beth gets number scene, and then a scene I hated was well, let's get back to this Beth gets number scene. That was actually my favorite scene in the movie, where you're at this bar to where Mackenzie Davis's character is trying to win over this older kind of semi-dashing kind of guy. He seems like a well-traveled that kind of guy, older, mature guy. It's just really not working with what she's trying to throw at him, and she gets really extremely frustrated, and things go really south with this guy, and you see him kind of circumvent back over to Beth's character, played by Caitlin Fitzgerald, and get her number, and you just see Mackenzie Davis's character see that go down, and it's just amazing the way the score and just the way it's set up, and her acting with her face and whatnot. But one of the scenes, this is one of my, I don't think this is a nitpick. I actually hated this part of the movie. It actually made it to where it wasn't even in a next tier as far as psychological dramas and thrillers are concerned with me. Is I hated the scene in the movie where Beth was on the phone with her boyfriend, and it was just written horribly, and it was just acted just as bad. But in conclusion, the ending, I thought the ending was a bit unsatisfying. It wasn't as twisted enough, not as twisted enough to be in the top tier of psychological thrillers, in my opinion. I just honestly thought the whole third act wasn't completely wasn't very effective for me. But I really hope everyone goes and checks this movie out on video on demand. It's really got great performances from the two main actresses, and I really love the editing and the score, and I was really a big fan of Sophia Takal's direction in this from a style perspective. So really hope you enjoyed this review. Go and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Leave me a review. Tell me what you thought about this movie once you see it. I really hope a lot of people have already seen it, but I highly doubt it. So have a great day. This is the Royal and Remedy Podcast.